You know that feeling? When something from the past doesn't just feel like a memory, but like it's happening right now, in your body? That's what we're digging into. We're going to look at the science of how trauma isn't just in your head, it's a physical thing, an imprint that literally changes your biology. This is the story of the Somatic Echo.
And this quote from Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, man, it just nails it. He says the past is alive as a gnawing interior discomfort. See, that's the key. Trauma isn't some story we just remember. It's a physical state. It's your body basically convinced that the danger never, ever left.
So that's the big question, right? How does a memory become, well, a physical reality that you live with every single day? And the answer, it turns out, isn't about what we think. It's all about how our brain and our entire nervous system get rewired from the ground up.
Okay, so our first big clue comes from, believe it or not, looking right inside the brain while someone is actually reliving a traumatic moment. And what researchers saw in those brain scans, well, it was absolutely mind-blowing.
So check this out. During a flashback, the brain scans show the right side of the brain, the part that deals with emotions, images, all that raw sensory stuff, it just lights up like a Christmas tree. It's being totally flooded with pure, unfiltered feeling and sensation. But here's the wild part. At the exact same time all that emotion is firing off, another part of the brain, Broca's area, which is basically our speech center, it just goes dark. It completely shuts down. They call this speechless terror, and it's exactly what it sounds like. When someone's reliving trauma, they literally can't find the words, because the part of their brain that makes words has gone offline. The memory isn't a story you can tell, it's a physical thing that's just happening to you.
So think about it. If the part of your brain that uses language is offline, how are you supposed to deal with a threat? Well, the brain falls back on its oldest, most primitive programming, its alarm system, and that triggers this massive chain reaction all through the body.
Here's a great way to picture your brain's alarm system. You've got two main parts. First, there's the smoke detector. That's your amygdala. It's super primitive, and it just screams, "Danger!" at the tiniest sign of trouble. Then you've got the watchtower, your prefrontal cortex. This is the rational part that can look down, see the whole picture, and say, hey, chill out, it's just burnt toast, we're safe. But in a brain that's been shaped by trauma, that phone line between the calm watchtower and the panicking smoke detector, it's been cut. The message from the rational brain, hey, we're okay, it just can't get through. So the alarm, it just keeps blaring, nonstop.
And this constant alarm ends up hijacking the body's entire stress response, what scientists call the HPA axis. Now, normally, this system is a beautiful self-correcting loop, right? A threat pops up, your body releases stress hormones like cortisol to deal with it, and then the cortisol itself tells the brain, okay, crisis averted, you can stand down now. It's a perfect system. But with chronic post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, that off switch is busted. The feedback loop is broken. So the body just keeps pumping out stress hormones, but it never ever gets that all-clear signal. Imagine driving a car with the gas pedal jammed all the way to the floor, 24/7. That's what it feels like. Okay, but this alarm isn't just going off when there's an obvious threat. What about our inner world, our sense of who we are? Well, that's managed by something called the default mode network. Think of it as the part of your brain that's running when you're just spacing out, daydreaming, thinking about yourself. It's basically the foundation of your identity. And this is one of the most chilling discoveries in all of trauma research. In PTSD, that default mode network, your very sense of self, gets hijacked by the alarm center, the amygdala. So what does that mean? It means for a survivor, there's no such thing as a peaceful resting state. Their internal default setting is threat. The alarm isn't outside anymore, it's coming from inside the house.
So this constant state of internal alarm, it's not just a feeling. It has real, devastating, and totally measurable effects on the body. It takes what we think of as a psychological injury and turns it into a hard, biological reality.
And the proof for this is, frankly, it's undeniable. It comes from the huge landmark Adverse Childhood Experiences study. This is called the ACE study. Researchers looked at over 17,000 people and cross-referenced their childhood trauma with their adult medical records. And what they found, it was just staggering.
What they found was a clear dose-response effect. It's simple, really. The more bad stuff you went through as a kid, the higher your risk for serious illnesses as an adult. I mean, just to give you an idea, having an ACE score of just 2,
2 categories of trauma can almost double your risk of getting an autoimmune disease. It's a direct line.
And then there's the most shocking number of all, an ACE score of 6 or more. That was linked to a life expectancy that was almost 20 years shorter than someone with a score of 0. 20 years! There's just no arguing it. The body really truly does keep the score.
So if the problem is rooted this deep in the body's hardware, in its alarm systems, then it stands to reason our whole approach to healing has to change too. All this science is pointing to a completely new way of thinking about what recovery actually looks like.
And that brings us to 2 really different paths to healing. You've got your top-down approach. That's things like traditional talk therapy. It tries to use logic and reason your thinking brain. But as we just saw, that part of the brain can be totally offline during trauma. Then you have bottom-up therapies. These start with the body itself, with physical sensations, with movement, to calm those alarm systems first. The idea is to create a sense of safety in the body so the thinking brain can finally come back online and do its work.
And the evidence for this is just wow. There was a study on women with really severe treatment-resistant PTSD. They found that a special trauma-sensitive yoga program was more than twice as effective as the standard treatment. Get this, over half, 52%, of the women in the yoga group no longer even met the criteria for PTSD afterward. And the craziest part? They did it all without ever saying a single word about what happened to them.
Peter Levine, who's a real pioneer in this body-based healing, he sums it up perfectly. He basically says that, yeah, trauma has this immense power to destroy, but it also has the power to transform and even resurrect. Understanding the biology of it all opens up these entirely new doorways to healing. It changes recovery from just managing symptoms to something way more profound, a real transformation.
So, it all leaves us with this one powerful question to think about. If the body keeps the score, how do we help it write a new one? If the language of trauma is sensation, then maybe healing is all about learning to speak that language. Not to forget what happened, but to finally teach the body from the inside out that the war is over and it's safe to come home.